sunshine state where the nerds play. There's a YouTuber who's leading the way. Yeah. He's got a passion for all things nerdy. Dungeons and Dragons, his world's not blurry. From comics to movies, he's got it all. He's an Outpost nerd living in a geeky world with his lightsaber shining. He's a Star Wars swerve through galaxies and adventures. He'll take you there. He's an Outpost nerd, no one can compare. Nerd power. Yeah, he's the king of nerds. Can't you?
What's up, my nerd geeks and dweebs, and welcome to another transmission from the Outpost Nerd. I found some things out this week, and I thought I'd share them. It's life-changing. It answers a lot of questions. It puts a lot of things into perspective that I think that isn't really understood for a lot of people, and in how they go through things. I recently, or let me go back further. I've dealt with mental health issues from as long as I can remember. I was dragged to doctors, from an early age, and diagnosed with many issues that no one wanted to help me work with. Ace Knight, how's it going? This is a little more serious stream today, so I'm giving some updates. I found something out yesterday that I'm giving a little background to. Thanks for being here. But I was never heard. I was just told, take this medicine, or take this medicine, or do this, do that. Well, why was my question. Why is always my question. And so many kids, when I was growing up in the 90s, were diagnosed with ADD. Ritalin was a big thing for decades, especially in the 90s when I was growing up. And it turns out a lot of kids like me were misdiagnosed. So I've been, for years, trying to figure out what is wrong with me. And I think yesterday I have finally gotten some answers. So yesterday, after a long time of trying to get this done, trying to find someone who could do it for me, since the hurricane, no one in town is... a lot of people left after the hurricane, so there's not many people who do this. The doctor I spoke with had to come all the way from Tallahassee, and that's a 2-hour drive. So I spent a few hours talking with her, and she diagnosed me with Asperger's, which explains a lot. Like, even right now, I have my arm, if I had my camera on, you'd see my arms crossed on, or and she noticed that when I was talking to her, it's almost, she called it stimulating, And I do this thing, as many of you know, in I was in band, and I got this tick, a nervous tick, when I was a kid in middle school, of me fingering my music, me going through my music, and this little twitch in my hand that I have now. I've had it for almost 25 years now. And she says it's stimming. Now, I don't know all I don't know the details of it, of the psych eval, but she said that she believes I have mild Asperger's, with the learning disabilities, the dyscalculia I have, the social issues that I have. She thinks it might be Asperger's mixed with ADD and ADHD. When she finalizes her report, I'll be getting a copy of it so I can actually read it and see exactly what she says. Well, we she did the typical psychology thing of how was your childhood and stuff like that, and I remember being a kid having trouble with like speech, talking, and oh, look at me now, you can't get me to shut up half the time. But like tying my shoes as a kid was difficult to learn. Um, Neatness is always been difficult for me. I don't like a perfectly clean space. I like clutter. I get very nervous when a room is like super clean because I forget where stuff is. Um, we spoke on anxiety issues, and she could see. I'm going to I'm going to share a little bit about what Asperger's actually is in just a moment. I have an article that I'll be reading from, and it puts a lot of things into perspective that I think I didn't have as late as yesterday morning the before my session, my meeting, my appointment. It's like she says the speech issues are are a prob are part of the problem, or a symptom of it, and how, as many of you notice, sometimes I'll get my words. It's like my words are all in my head, and it's just an avalanche, and it's all just tumbling out, and my mouth can't keep up. So I have to eat to. I have to stop, refocus, and it's almost like I'm part of my brain is like a general, and it's getting all the words that I need back in line. And it's hard for me sometimes. It makes me frustrated. It gets me mad at myself, which people wrongfully take as I'm mad at you. No, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at myself that I'm letting my words and fail and not get my point across. That's what I'm mad at, not anyone else. And it's caused so many issues, so many problems. The I've never been able to find a place where I feel welcome, where I'm allowed to be a part of something. And it's it feeds into itself. the it seems like those issues. If I am Asperger's, if that's what her report is going to say, I need to wait and find out for sure. But I wanted to share the thoughts I've had about this and what it actually is. I've known people with Asperger's, and they live a full life. Um, I knew a guy who had Asperger's, and he was a savant. He was an actor with me. It took him less than a week to memorize an entire script. So if we had casting issues, he'd be the one to call. But he could do the heavy work, but he couldn't be like smooth and flowing that some roles called for. So, um, let's get into what it is. Um, let's. Okay, I'll read this. Um, Asperger's syndrome, also called Asperger's disorder, is a type of pervasive development order, or PDD. PDDs are groups of conditions that involve delays in develops of many basic skills. Like I said, I had speech issues. I had learning issues. Um, it's like during my evaluation yesterday, she had me do some multiplication, and specifically by sevens. I'm 37 years old, and the sevens and eights multiplication tables have always been difficult for me. So, most notably, the ability to socialize with others, to communicate, and to use imagination. And this is where I think the mild aspect comes up, because I don't have any problem using my imagination. And like most disorders, there's a spectrum with PTD disorders. Many individuals with Asperger's, often referred to as Aspies, okay, experience serious deficiencies in social and communication skills. Their IQs are typically in the normal to very superior range. And like I took an IQ test in, I think, high school, and like math and stuff, it was in the crapper, really. But my like English, history, words, that was, I think, I took one a few months ago. I think I took one last September, so it's been about a year. And the math, again, still the math was in the toilet, but communications, um, English, word, arts, they were in, like, I think, the 96th, 97th percentile. I have my paperwork somewhere. They are usually educated in the mainstream, but many require special education services, which I did for my entire time in school. They desire to fit in socially and have friends, but have a great deal of difficulty making effective social communications, and are frequently the target of bullying and teasing. Wow, that just fucking hit hard. This whole fucking sentence is hitting hard. Many of them. Oh, let me do something real quick. Um, Many of them are at risk for developing mood disorders such as anxiety or depression, especially in adolescence. Let me. I forgot to do something. Just a second. Okay, they desired. Okay, I just tried that. Although, with the May 2013 publication of DSM-5 diagnosis manual, Asperger's is now considered under the heading of autism spectrum disorder. Many people with Asperger's prefer their separate diagnosis. Let's see. So that's kind of what Asperger's is a little bit. And let's here's some symptoms of it. There are positive and negatives, but there's the positive Asperger's traits are remarkable focus and persistence, aptitude for recognizing patterns, and attention to detail. That one, I've always had difficult with patterns and stuff. Potential challenges: difficulty with social interactions, restricted interest, desire for sameness, hypersensitivities to light, sounds, tastes, etc. Difficulty with the give and take of conversation, difficulty for nonverbal communication skills, distance, loudness, tone, etc. Uncoordinated movements or clumsiness. Yeah, I'm very clumsy. Anxiety and depression. That's a bullseye right there. There are many ways to seek treatments for Asperger's, such as medication, behavioral therapy, communication skills training, etc. Here are a few different ways to seek help with symptoms of Asperger's: cognitive behavioral therapy, social skills training, antidepressants, ADHD medications, and anxiety, social groups. This is what I want. And I'm sorry, brother. There are some people who I've known on here. Oh, I don't want to be part of a community. Too fucking bad. Communities are not something we can control. Communities, I believe, sprout up organically. And and people have to accept that we humans, this is social media, and I know I'm guilty of it myself. It has ruined social interactions. It has taken accountability out of society, and it's we have to support each other. I'm sick of supporting other creators, other people, and not getting it back in return. This is going a little off topic. This is something that has been bothering me for a very long time, and I am sick of it. I am sick of my thoughts, my beliefs, my issues being used as insults, as ammo for attacks, or completely disregarded. I can't count how many times I've been told, "Get over it, nerd." Screw you. Screw you and the horse you rode in on, fuckers. You don't get to tell me how to feel. You don't get to belittle my issues. I understand people are hurting. Everyone hurts in some way or another, and we need to support each other. That's what a community is for. There's a reason for all these cases of children being lost in the woods, going feral and turning into animals. They don't have that communication. They don't have that societal need that humanity needs. You know, but people want to go run and hide instead of help. They don't want to. They don't want to. They want to accept what's given to them, but they don't want to pay it forward. All these channels I follow, all these channels where I've gotten to know the creators personally outside of this chat that I have gone on, that I have streamed with, I tell people, these people are great, because I don't go on. I try not to go on crappy channels. I like going on channels where the people are smart, knowledgeable, and interesting. But people need to pay it forward. I share streams, but my streams never get shared. I get told my content that I make is crap. Try doing it with no budget. Try doing what I do with everything free. I am not to the point. This channel is not to the point where it can sustain itself. I have to cut corners. I have to use AI sometimes, which I don't like. But then someone tells me, "Oh, your edits are crap." Yeah, because I'm using the fucking free OpenShot version. And it's good. It does its job, but it's so lacking. This is why I was so mad at StreamYards. StreamYards, until a few months ago, you could share media clips. I'm having to share these media clips directly from a folder on my computer. I can't afford the hundreds of dollars that StreamYard now wants, but I'm creating because I have to create. If I didn't create, if I didn't do music, if I didn't do art, if I didn't do theater, I would be dead. And I know YouTube doesn't like talking about that, but I would not be here. I am waiting on tests to see my colonist. I can't pronounce it. My clonus dystonia syndrome. All signs point to it. It's a movement disorder. It also causes psychological issues. I have extreme anxiety, shyness, and depression. Yeah, and it's like it feeds into each other, doesn't it, Snipe? All that anxiety and shyness makes you, for me, it makes me feel ashamed, which feeds into the depression, which feeds into the anger that I'm told to get over. People don't see, maybe I do recognize patterns a little more because I see in society these vicious circles, these catch-22s, where you can't win. It's like, for me, the big one I see is, okay, you go job hunting. Well, you need the experience to get the job, but you need the job to get the experience. Do you see that catch-22? And I'm tired. Yes, I'm a man. Exactly. The silence and loneliness is so addicting because you don't have to, you get to be whatever you want to be. It's a drug that can kill. You don't have to deal with other people, but you need to. And I'm tired of being belittled, being called uncompassionate, unempathetic, unwanted. I will help anyone that asks me. I will be there for anyone, any of you, as I have been in the past for so many people. But when I come back asking for help in return, oh, well, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. Bullshit. Again, that goes back to being a community. I help because I want to. I help because it's the right thing to do. If I could keep anyone from feeling the way I've been feeling for years, for 30, next month is going to be 38 fucking years of feeling this, I would take it on my back in a heartbeat. See, I've gone to therapists, I've gone to psychologists, to psychiatrists, I've been gone to so many people, but they've never been able to diagnose me with something that can help. I've taken medicine, I've taken Wellbutrin, Trintellix, Ritalin, all sorts of stuff, and they either made me sick or didn't work. A few years ago, I had a doctor who started me on Wellbutrin. 1,300 milligrams to start off. I literally was being over medicated and I could feel it. I couldn't get full. I could eat a whole Hungry Howie's calzone and still be starving. The lights hurt. I was in college at the time and I would have to find a dark classroom to sit in and do my work. I couldn't handle it. And of course, living in a place called the Sunshine State doesn't help either with that kind of thing. And I had, for the first and only time in my life, a case of vertigo. There was a hallway going from stage left to stage right backstage at my college in the theater. I'm walking down that hallway, and all of a sudden, it turns completely on its side. I called my doctor right then and there. I said, "We have to find something else. I can't do this." Oh, well, I've never heard of these reactions before. How often do you give someone over 1,000 milligrams? That's what I'm hoping, Snipe. That's what I'm hoping. And um, it's just taking time, and it seems like in that time, no one's understanding. I have not, the people I have spoke to about this, I have not gotten any, very little support. I've gotten, oh, so and so I know has it, or oh, that's what I have. Then why are you not being understanding? I don't understand the complete stigma of from men's mental health. We're told, suck it up, man up, nut up, or get over it, shut up. If I get told shut up one more time, I'm going to fucking go nuclear. I'm sick of seeing other people take the handouts and succeed, but then when I come up, my hands out, my turn for help, and people are like, oh, well, you don't need to do it yourself. Everyone gets help from people. No one does anything on their own. And I'm sorry. That's the one thing I agree with Obama about, but he said it wrong. You didn't build that. No, you built it, but you just had help building it. No man, no person is an island. and I'm tired of being being left on a deserted island. I'm tired of feeling like Tom Hanks in Castaway, and I don't have a Wilson. Men's mental health is so important. And I can't speak on women's mental health, so don't say, oh, nerd, you're just being sexist. Bullshit. I'm speaking about men's mental health because I am a man, and it's killing me. And we're missing something, guys. People, society is missing something. When the suicide rate is so much higher for men than it is for women, but men are diagnosed with so much more fewer disorders than any woman. Uh, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying. I'm I'm trying to get these chains off me, and that's what this feels like. It feels like It feels like I've said this. I think I said this before. It feels like I'm stuck under a fucking frozen lake, banging on the ice to try to break through, but I'm covered in chains like Marley from fucking Christmas Carol, and I'm being dragged under further and further, and being allowed to drown while everyone is up on the ice partying. Here's it's a from AAMC. Um, Men's mental health. What are we missing? Physicians often fail to treat men's mental health issues effectively. Better training and empathy for the distinct symptoms and social expectations men face can help. Of course, they got to do this shit because God forbid a man shines a light on this issue because you don't want the women pissed. Men in the United States die unalive at a rate 4 times higher than a woman's. Let's see. This is. I'll bring that up in a minute. And yet, men are diagnosed with depression and mood disorders at a far lower rate. Why is this? Too often, society blames men themselves for their struggles. They are the ones who often turn to substance abuse and violent behavior rather than getting help for their mental health. They are the ones who struggle to keep up with the changing workforce and gender norms. They are the ones who too often embrace unhealthy attitudes and beliefs at the expense of their own well-being. But this approach of placing blame on individuals has produced little by way of clinical, social, or structural interventions to improve men's mental health. Men aren't the problem. The way that we, society as a whole, and health and care providers specifically treat them is. That's the issue, right there in a nutshell. We're told from a young age, men are physical. We're out there. We want to be out there roughhousing to playing. But we're told as children, don't do that. No roughhousing. Don't. We're not allowed to get our energy out. I experienced that growing up in the '90s. We romanticize the '90s to an absurd certain extent, but the '90s were just as bad as it is now. We just knew less about it because the internet was not nearly as prevalent as it is now. It is time that primary care physicians, mental health service providers, and policymakers look critically at the accuracy and utility of their assumptions and explanations for men's rates of depression, anxiety, burnout. Hey, Memento, thanks for coming in. Is that a hand waving? I can't really tell because it's so small. Yes, it's hand waving. But squirrel. Studies. Oh wait, the current framework has limited our ability to offer real solutions that meet men where they are and give them the tools to not. That's what I thought, but it's so tiny. It was so tiny on my screen. Sorry. Not only to survive but thrive, and that's my issue. I'm forced to survive, but I'm not allowed to thrive. And so many, everybody, men, women, we're all expected to survive, not to thrive. And it's like, it breaks my heart going to like McDonald's and seeing these 60, 70-year-old people having to work back there. And kudos to them. Jeez, being, having the energy and thanks, Snipe. Have a good day. I know this was really impromptu. Thanks for being here, my dude. And I see so many. Yeah, we're supposed to. I'm sorry. Chris Rock said it best, and I know people have beaten this saying like a dead horse, but he's 100%. Women and dogs. Women, girls, and dogs are the only things in the world loved unconditionally. A man is loved on the condition of what he can provide. How many times have you seen these clips of women like, oh, my man has to make at least 5K, 500K a month, or 6 feet, 150 muscles, these unrealistic bullshit expectations. And then they'll say, oh, where are all the men? Well, you just excluded 99% of them. And I have met some great women. I have dated some great girls growing up. I am not anti-woman. I'm just pro-reality. I'm pro-truth. And that's what I say. Oh, you're so rigid in your beliefs. No, I just understand that there are some things in this world that are not shades of gray. They're black and white. They're A and B, not A1, A2, A1. Ooh, now I want a steaking with some A1 sauce. Sorry. There are things that we can't change. No matter how much you cry, no matter how much you want them to, ain't gonna happen. It has. That social media has shined a light on it, but the severe lack of mental health in America, for not just men, but for everyone, has just exploded in the last 10, 15 years. Oh, that sounds good. Here's what I do, Memento. I've started doing a few years ago. So, a little background. A few years ago, I gave up soda for a very long time, and my taste started changing. I'll come back to this in a little while. And I started liking hot sauce and spicy things. Never liked it before. What I do is when I'm making hamburgers, I caramelize my onions in Worcestershire sauce as I'm cooking, and as the burgers get done, I'll put some Tabasco sauce. Oh, that Tabasco sauce is so good. And I'll put Tabasco sauce on it. Put the onions on top of it, and then get pepper jack. It's got to be pepper jack cheese. I love pepper jack cheese. It's my favorite cheese, and I'll put pepper jack cheese on top of them, so it melts it, and that cheese locks in the hot sauce and the onions. So I'll be taking a big bite, and I'll get like a pocket of hot sauce, and it just hits you. It's like, oh, so good. I put the hot sauce uh in my eggs, my grits, and omelets, all sorts of stuff now. And I remember one time my brother bought a Larry the Cable Guy like cooking set, and it had his brand of hot sauce in it. So I'm putting it in my eggs. I'm like, I'm gonna take a picture, and I posted it on Twitter. And Larry the Cable Guy, get her done himself, like, oh dude, that's awesome. I hope you enjoy it. I'm like, dude, that was so cool. Sorry, but yeah, I pepper jack is my favorite. I'll use cheddar if I don't have any, but pepper jack is my absolute favorite. So let's get back to. Oh, what did I do? Oh, press stop share instead. I had to. That's right. But I've been cooking a lot. I actually tried frying chicken for the first time. I'm not a fan of mushrooms, and I need to go on a diet. I think if I gave up soda again, speaking of soda, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I'd probably lose a lot of weight, but I'm not to the point that I can. Because that's what I did. I started drinking soda again. Nah, dude, you're good. You're good, Memento. But I fried chicken for the first time. I got some chicken tenders, and it was a very basic thing. But again, I've never tried this kind of stuff before. So it was simple salt and pepper mix, but I wanted to see if I could do it, and it came out really well. The chickens were nice and crispy on the outside, cooked through. My mom was like, "Oh, they're a little dry." I'm like, and I tried. I'm like, "Oh, they're not too dry," and it came out like a nice golden brown. I battered them. I put them in the egg mix. Put them in the flour. One thing I didn't do, and I'm gonna try next time. One thing, it's a simple recipe that I found. It called for you to let the chicken steep in before you put the flour on them, which I didn't do, but it came out good. And it's pretty much what my mom did, but I've never done it before. And I teased my mom afterwards. I was like, I shouldn't have done that because now you're gonna expect me to fry chicken from now on. Next time I'm gonna try to figure out maybe some spices to add into the flour. Maybe some like some types of pepper sauces. But this was just a simple salt and pepper mixed into the flour. All good, dude. I need to get something to eat too in a little while. I have a housewarming party to go to this afternoon. So it's going to be interesting. I don't usually go to these kind of things. That's another thing that I don't go out that often. And it's been always like I try to go out, and it's just the anxiety would like keep me back from going anywhere. But I've got this summer I've been going to local bars and just having a drink. I'd have one drink, sit there, watch people. I'm trying to meet somebody, and that's not very easy. But it shows some growth that I'm able to actually get out and be in crowds like that. So getting back to the article, because this next point I think is extremely poignant. Unfortunately, in the United States, men's mental health and well-being has reached a critical point. The pandemic exasperated the crisis of men's mental health. Study found that during the pandemic, U.S. men reported slightly lower rates of anxiety than women, but higher rates of depressive symptoms and suicidal ideation than their female counterparts. The uncertainty of the pandemic's loneliness from social distancing, financial stresses, relationship challenges, and other contextual factors contributed to the increased rates of men having difficulty sleeping, alcohol and substance use, and PTSD. Difficulty sleeping is a big part of my problem. I don't remember the last time I had a full night's sleep. I toss and turn. I wake up hurting, like back hurting, knees hurting, cracking like breakfast cereal, like Rice Krispie treats. I sound like I get up and start walking on fucking bubble wrap. And post PTSD symptoms triggered by the experience of mechanical ventilation treatment and hospitalization. Consequently, at one point in 2020, the rates of men seeking mental health care services in the United States increased more than fivefold over their prior year. Holy crap. These rates were greater than the rates of women seeking mental health care services during the same time. Yet by 2021, just 40% of men with a reported mental illness received mental health care services in the past year, compared with 52% of women with a reported mental illness, according to the National Institute of Mental Health. Everything I'm reading this is all backed by fucking stats and stuff. So I'm not pulling it out of my ass. I'm not reading it from people who are doing the same. This is an epidemic. This is reason it's called men's mental health crisis. Gone are the years of our grandfathers, our fathers, who never and I'm tired. This is one thing I disagree with a big YouTuber that we all know. Oh, don't cry. It's a man isn't supposed to cry. A man can cry. Don't make a show of it. Don't be a blubbering whale, but you can cry. A woman should support their man in his darkest moments, not use it as ammunition. I have had, in some of my darkest times, gone to people to get help, to get condolences, and to have them throw it back in my face. I had someone who I considered a friend for a very long time. He did this to me. It was about we had started going to the same church, and I left due to some issues with the church. And we were hanging out one time, and he used that as an insult against me, and the look I gave him, he knew he fucked up. He knew he had crossed a line no one should have crossed. Because a few months later, we're playing softball at one of the parks, and he turns to me, he's like, Matt, what I said that day was out of line. And yes, my name's Matt. I've let that slip enough. Nerd, Matt, whatever. My face has been plastered all over this medium, so okay, whatever. Cat's out of the bag. Modern feminism, yes, has ruined. It's more about punishment. There's a bunch of YouTubers that I watched that I really enjoy, but recently I've been having to turn them off. Because one of them, she's a very pretty young woman, but she's funny as hell. She is. They've been doing recently a Pokemon Minecraft server. And she's going, I don't need no man. I don't need no man. Then turns to one of the men gamers. Hey, can you help me with this? Or she's like, don't objectify me, but I'm going to wear a low-cut top that shows off my cleavage. Great. One or the other. I wish, I'm going to catch hell for this. I'm going to catch hell for this, but this needs to be said. I wish I could sell my body like a woman can. It's a lot. Things are harder for a woman than they are for a man, yes, and vice versa. But a woman can make a lot of money, no matter what woman. Because you'll find a guy who will simp for you, will white knight for you. But modern feminism, that is modern feminism in a nutshell. It's punishment. It's hypocrisy. I'm hearing some hypocrisy right now from the other room. The fucking insanity that this woman cannot see. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, you did nude scenes, and now you're crying like, "Oh, I've been objectified." Well, you didn't have to do those. You chose. And I'm not saying that I I'm back. I just misclicked on my mouse. I clicked back by accident. Um yeah, the male gaze. That lady, she stands on the red carpet in front of millions of people and billions. Yes, I pressed the back button on my mouse. It's one of those gaming mouses that had the back buttons on the side, and I meant to highlight your comment, Memento, and click the back button. My mistake. But sex is thrown in our faces every moment of every day, and then we're told off for admiring it. That's like if you look at a Picasso or a, a Da Vinci and like, oh, that's so beautiful, and then the artist comes down like, don't you? No, you can't talk like that. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like I saw, and I'm so glad he's gone. Howard Stern. He's a relic. The 80s and 90s Howard Stern would hate what he has become. That man got this is a prime example, okay, of someone succeeding and then pulling up the ladder behind him. Howard Stern made his fortune, made his career off of sex, off of beautiful women, and off of stupid people. He objectified people. And then now that he succeeded, now that he's at the top, he's like, you can't do what I did to get here. What you're doing is wrong when it's exactly the same thing. Hell, his biopic was full of stuff like, holy shit, that can't be real. And you look it up, it's real. It's like people think success is a finite commodity that I'm successful, so that means you can't. Because that means I'll be less successful. It's not about, oh, I'm successful, let me help you get to the point where you're successful too. Pay it forward. My folks don't realize how lucky they were when they were starting off in their marriage in the 80s. My dad was from 78 to 82 was in the Navy, and I'm so proud. I'm so proud to be his son. He worked his ass off, but he also had some people, very good people, very more successful people, help supporting him, so he could become successful himself. In '82, my mom and dad returned to our hometown, and they started renting a house from a lady. And this is early 1980s rental prices. You're looking at $400-$500, and they were with this lady. She owned a bunch of rental property in town, and from '82 to 2008, they rented from this lady because my dad was not going to buy a house until knew he could afford to keep it. And he's always been like that. He's always been very frugal, very adamant about his money, which I admire about him. It's like right now he's putting in a dishwasher at his house instead of hiring someone to do it. And it's cost him so many headaches. I've had to go help him so many times. But in the late '80s, the landlord came to them and said, "You've been such good tenants. I promise I'll never raise your rent as long as you're with me." So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They were with her for 36 years, and were paying $550 a month for rent. When the house next door she also owned was paying $1,300, which is at the average rent in my town. My parents were paying less than half of that. And they expect me and my brother to be able to afford to go out and find a place, to find a job in a tourist town, a town where half the jobs closed down around. They've just closed down. School started last Monday, and some of them are starting to shut down for the season. Others will open when the snowbirds from Canada and Yankee Land up north. But they don't understand inflation. I have showed them the stats. I have worked out the inflation from 78 when they got married to now, and everything has increased by 200-300%. Yes, minimum wage is probably 3 times as high. My mom was always telling me, "Oh, your pay rate as a professional is twice as much as anything I ever made." When she retired, I'm making probably $2-3 more than she did. Yeah, but things have gone up in prices. I never had. One time in the school system, I had benefits. And that's what most people have to survive on. If they have a job, like full-time job, they live off the benefits. And they can't understand that because they've never had to be out in the environment that's been happening for the past 5-10 years. Things have gotten a little better the past few months, but it's still hard. Still harder than what they had to deal with. And my dad, he was lucky enough to be able to serve and get college money. He used his GI Bill to get his pilot's license. I don't have the $20,000-$30,000 that he says it would cost to get my pilot's license. My mom was able to work in the system. She was able to do what she wanted to do, work with kids. But I'm not allowed to go follow what I want to do. Screw that. And screw anyone who thinks that there are people who have to settle. No, there are fucking not. I am tired of being told to settle. Instead of being told, go succeed, do your best. Oh, just do what pays the best money or do what needs to be done. No, I don't want to do what needs to be done. I want to do what I want to be done. And sometimes that can fall into the same category as needs to be done. Even when men seek care, that care falls short. Data from Canada and the United States found that more than 60% of men who died by suicide had accessed mental health care services within the previous year. This is malpractice. This is disgusting. And how many times have you gone into a therapy session and it be a woman? Sometimes a man needs to talk to a man. I remember the show Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso got divorced and moved to England to coach soccer. Great show. I highly recommend it. Jason Sudeikis is one of his best. He hates therapy because when his father, spoilers, killed himself. And it has shocked him to his core. He hates therapy because it failed his father and it failed his marriage because his ex-wife took him to therapy, and all it was the female therapist and his wife ganging up on him. Slowly over the show's run, that changed. He got close with his therapist and got the help that he needed. But it took so many years and took him going halfway across the world to do it. When men do seek mental health care, it's not uncommon for them to feel that providers mislabel and underestimate their needs. I've had that feeling so many times with dealing with mental health people, and that providers do not seem to have a genuine interest in their problems. For some time, research has shown that mental health providers may miss or misdiagnose psychological problems in men because of their own gender bias. That's another keyword, gender bias in all this shit. They might believe that men simply need to, oh my gosh, I'm repeating myself as I said earlier. They need to man up and stop showing weakness. Or that the symptoms may present or are not consistent with diagnostic tools. Mental health providers may not consider that these tools do not take into account gender differences in experience or symptoms that men are more likely to exhibit. So this is telling me that you might go to therapy, a man might go to therapy and their treatment might be more acceptable, might work better on a woman than they would for them. For men to seek mental health care in the first place is already a challenge, with social barriers such as social stigma, fear of judgment, and lack of skills to communicate emotions keeping many from doing it. Keeping many from doing so. It's I can't say that word. That bias and a lack of effective treatment approaches or the part of mental health providers would create more barriers. Men do bear a responsibility to seek help, but it is far from logical that they choose to avoid it. So social stigma, social anxiety, social issues, keep men from going to get the help they need. The impetus is on those of us in the medical and mental health fields to ensure we're empathetic to struggles that men face in a changing world. Research has shown that men often struggle to differentiate depression from stress and to know when to seek help if symptoms are severe enough. Men and mental health care providers may not label men's symptoms as depression if the symptoms are tied to an external factor like unemployment. Traditionally, men are socialized to define their worth by the ability to contribute economically to the household. This goes back to what Chris Tucker said. Men are only loved if they provide, are on the condition they provide, unlike how a woman and a girl are, and dogs are loved unconditionally. However, the labor market has shifted away from traditional male-dominated jobs. Men must now redefine their worth outside their employment, income, and home. The notion of precarious manhood, which is the belief that manhood is an achieve social status that must be earned and constantly defended means that men may feel it is their character rather than their behavior being judged during more tumultuous economic times. So this again, a man is judged by external conditions, things that are out of his control. Last week alone, I went to a dozen job interviews. I mentioned that the other night on Nerd at Night. Check it out. I'm gonna check out my Nerd at Night streams. Get it? Play it. Nick at Night. Hey. And I know education is more female dominated, and I get judged by two people that should never judge me this, that I must be doing something wrong. You must have done something wrong in the interview. No, I have asked the interviewers, what can I do better? It's like, no, nothing. You did great. The interview was perfect, spot on. We just decided to go with someone else. Or so we decided to go someone more experienced, or we're going with different direction. That's beyond my control. Again, I have always said this, and you'll never hear me say otherwise. 95% of someone's problems is themselves. But there's that 5% of society, other people's expectations, other people's decisions that you can't control. But I'm told, well, this job is easy. I did your same job. No, you didn't. I worked with autistic kids. I worked with special needs kids. I worked with ESE kids full time. You would have one or two a day, if any. My mom was always in mainstream classes. I was not. Completely different. I worked with Spanish speaking kids. A majority last year were ESOL, English as a second language kids. And I had to use Google Translate. My mom, when she had us foreign language kids, she was like, no, she told the principal once, this is my, if you want me to use Translate, get me a school phone. This is my private phone. Are you fucking kidding me? So stupid. Let's continue this. This is longer than I thought, but it's so illuminating. Even men who do achieve and maintain a certain level of manhood they perceive as successful are likely to put unreasonable expectations on themselves that can lead to burnout. An imbalance between job demands and skills, lack of control over tasks at work, lack of rewards of acknowledgement of effort, and prolonged work stress are some leading factors contributing to burnout. As we think about the way gender influences how men present with mental health systems, it's important to keep contextual factors in mind. What is burnout? Burnout is indicated in the 11th revision of the International Classification of Diseases as an occupational phenomenon. It is not classified as a mental condition. It is described in the chapter factors influencing health status or contact with health services, which includes reasons for people contract health services, but are not classified as illnesses or health conditions. Burnout is defined as IDC-11 as follows. Burnout is a symptom of conceptualized as resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. It is characterized by 3 dimensions: feelings of energy depletion and or exhaustion, increased mental distance from one's job, or feeling of negativism or cynicism related to one's job, and reduced professional efficacy. Burnout refers specifically to phenomena in the occupational context and should not be applied to describe experiences in others' lives. The fact that men are diagnosed with depression at lower rates than women despite their higher rates of suicide, substance use, and violent behavior suggests that more could be done to improve the tools used to diagnose men. Could I say, I'm going to say this about that last comment. No shit, Sherlock. You can't use the same criteria for women and use them as men. We, whether you like it or not, men and women are different. Men are stronger, women are faster, women have a higher tolerance for pain. Men are hunter gatherers. Women not stay at home. Men gather the materials, women use them. And I'm not saying that's universal. I'm not. It's the way things were for thousands of years up until feminism destroyed it. And now feminism has caused it's behind how many broken families, how many abortions, how many I remember last year talking to some of my kids at school and telling them my parents have been married almost 50 years. And they couldn't conceive that. They couldn't even conceive that my parents were married. God, that broke my heart. And feminism, the welfare state, are the two contributing factors to these problems. And social media. Feminism, the welfare state and social media has destroyed the nuclear family. You destroy the nuclear family, you destroy the foundation of a society. And this is how the Cold War has never ended, in my opinion. They just knew the communists, the true believers, and we're seeing this today in New York, in Seattle, all these big cities around the country that are about to elect all these socialist idiots. The socialists and communists knew they couldn't take on the United States in an arms race. They tried it, and Bernie Sanders and favorite vacation spot Russia is gone for it. The Soviet Union tried an arms race, so now we're in a war of ideology. We're in a war where it's not fought with bullets; it's fought with ideas, and America is losing. While some mental health care service providers may be gender sensitive and recognize that aggressiveness, alcohol use, and risky behavior are part of the pressuring symptoms men with depression may exhibit, there are a few courses that training that focus on gender differences in mental health, potentially leading to mental health care services providers being less equipped to serve and offer gender assertive resources to men. So basically, the stigma causes less men to seek mental health. No, let me try. The focus on mental health is not on men, and that causes less training and less resources to be offered for providers to give them. Given the data and unique contexts and aspects of men's mental health, there is a need to create more opportunities for healthcare providers who serve men to learn to be sensitive and responsive to their male patients' needs, along with the efforts like the Movember Foundation's Rooted and Rising Collective and the Canadian Men's Mental Health Foundation. MindFit Toolkit, Table 1 below, and I'll go over that, provides selected programs and e-health tools that have been designed to be sensitive to the preservation needs and preferences of men. So, oh my God, they're designed for men. That's sexist. I'm going to go burn my bra and not shave and no deodorant. Yeah, fucking feminist. The resources men may need mental health. The reasons men may need mental health resources and support are not simply due to how men think or because of their attitudes about masculinity. Using the lens this narrow hampers our capacity to effectively address and improve men's mental health. It is important to consider that gender sensitivity of men's mental health services and the broader contextual and structural factors that influence men's mental health and well-being. It's time we consider men's mental health in its full context and shift the focus to the ways our healthcare system and providers are equipped to deliver services to improve men's mental health. I think I'll post this article in my Discord if you'd like to read the rest, if you need any help in anything. We as men, we're hurting, we're dying, and I'm not saying like, oh, the true death. We're dying every day. We go out, kill ourselves for people when we could come home to an empty house and men need help, and we can't allow it to be used against us. That's my biggest issue. We need there's a mental health epidemic for everyone, but it's the resources and fixing it seem to be so focused on women. They need help too, of course, not saying they don't, but the lack of mental resources, mental help for men is scary. And the fact that it took me 38 years to have someone help me figure out what my problem is and point me in a direction that I have never had before, where I can get help. We can focus on the right problem. It's like for years I've been told, oh, you have a flat tire, when that's not the problem, when the radiator's busted in the car. You can't focus on one thing and ignore the real problem. And that's what's been done to me. It was done to my cousin, who's much older than me, who just a few years ago was diagnosed with Asperger's. And we could tell something was wrong with him. And he is he's doing great. He lives on his own. He has a job, last I heard, at a newspaper company. He's doing amazing. He's never been let it hamper him, but he knew the problem. He was allowed to. He had the problem figured out and was able to get the help he needed to get to the point he is at now, where I'm not. I'm stuck. I'm stuck in the same place I've been for 20 years. I have my 20th year high school reunion next year. I'm not sure I'm going to go because nothing has changed. I'm ashamed of where I am, and I am trying to get to a point where I can get out on my own. And there have been a few times where I've been almost in reach of those goals. Then something happens, either to me, to someone else, out of my control, or an act of God. Like, you know, but don't you dare for 1 second, and they know who I'm talking to with this, because you're never going to do this again. Don't you dare belittle my issues and then cloak them in compliments and good humor. After everything I've done for them. Well, you didn't do them for the right reasons then. Oh my fucking God, that is an excuse for your piss poor behavior. You're hurting, and I hope they realize this. You're hurting, so you lash out at other people. You have said it before, you've done that you've treated people like shit. And then by doing so, you lost all respect for them. And now you wonder where you're at. Look in a mirror. I have looked in a mirror and I have been disgusted by what I see it looking back at me. And I hope and pray to God that you get the help you need, you deserve. Because I know how great a person you can be. I know how loving you can be, how fun you can be. But there are so many times that you go beyond friendship, jokes, and you turn into a bully. You hide your bullyingness behind jokes like Stifler. Like I said in my bullying, my types of bullying, the kind of bully that hides, oh, I'm just joking. No, it stops being a joke when I ask you to stop. I have dealt with that kind of shit in the past. And because I'm a man, because I'm supposed to get over it, you and others who think that way are allowed to do it. You're allowed to keep hurting people because it makes you feel good about yourself, because you think they deserve it. No one deserves that kind of treatment. I go and vent, and I get told, oh, well, you need to make sure you're venting to the right person. I can't know that until I vent to them and figure it out. But by then, the damage is done. And then I get excommunicated almost from the community, from the friend group I have tried to create on here. Because you hold so much power and you don't realize it, or you do realize it and you deny that fact. I have defended people. I have stood up to bullies on their behalf, and I get kicked in the sack from behind by the person I defended. No more. I support those channels. I share those channels. I send super chats into those channels because unlike me, they are monetized. And you know what? I get crickets in return. There's very few, less than a handful of people that genuinely support me. Memento, Snipe, Suzanne, who no one other than me, it seems, has checked on her. I used to have a great group of 4 people that I loved streaming with, but then out of the blue, no word, they dropped me. And I get told it's because of their show. Okay, that's not knowing for me is the worst thing that can happen. It feeds into the anxiety I was talking about earlier. But I'm told to just deal with it, get over it. Too bad. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I love streaming. I love creating. I love talking about nerdy stuff. Or not just nerdy stuff, stuff that interests me. Psychology, mental health issues. This is what interests me. I don't the catch line of the this channel says, find your passion and nerd out about it. If I wasn't in art, she's sick. She comes on. You have to message her. She doesn't come on. She doesn't because she's been sick. I talked to her last night and just for a few minutes, but she's really tired and she's been bedridden and things are hard for her with the changes up in Canada. But I try to go. I don't care. Like I don't just wait till I see them in. This is me. This is what I do. I don't wait till I see someone in chat, which if I'm thinking about someone, I'll say, oh, I need to message them and see how they are. 9 times out of 10, that's why I try to reach out to people because I don't want them to feel like I'm feeling now. I wouldn't wish these feelings on my own worst enemy. It's like you say you hadn't seen Suzanne. I haven't seen T Rex, Suzanne, a lot of them in a very long time. And I hope they're doing great. I just know Suzanne's just having some hard times. But so many people have their heads so far up their own asses that they could check their own prostate and don't think of the people that have supported them, that have shown them kindness or have been a shield for them against people who have attacked them. And they just kick people like those people to the curb. I'm the kind of guy that will help people, but I'm called uncompassionate. I can't. She would like that. I don't know exactly. I just know she hasn't been in the best of health the past few months. She hasn't. I've been guilty too of not reaching out when I should. And I cannot handle seeing people I love and care about in pain. And I think that might be explained by the Asperger's. I hurt. I and it shames me that I didn't know that, or that I didn't reach out to a friend. I want people to know that they are cared for, that there are people out there who sympathize with them. Because I've been in those places where I wasn't so sure. And I can't let other people go through that pain. So been getting better at going longer on these streams. An hour and a half. Wow. Um, just if you have a friend, please reach out to them. Make sure they're okay, man, woman, anybody, because someone could be on the cliff, and a simple words can save a life. How you doing? Send that little text. How are you doing? That could be 5 seconds. Take 5 seconds out of your day to reach out to somebody. Yes, they might say, "Oh, you're doing it for yourself." That's an idea in psychology. Everything is done for yourself. You don't do anything selfishly. That's one school of psychology that I remember talking about in college. But it still needs to be done. So I'm gonna winding down. Just love yourself. Find a way to love yourself, and reach out and love others. I want people to know that there are people who care about them. So remember, like I said earlier, find your passion and nerd out about it and share it with someone you love. I'm the nerd of the Outpost. I love you all, and I'm gone.
Lost in space, I found my place. In this outpost of solitude, my way. Binary code run through my veins. With every beat and beat, I feel no pain. Signing off, it's time to go. Goodbye, my nerdy friends. See you later. I know through the stars we've shared this ride, but now it's time to say goodbye.